chosen one, stop what you're doing right now. The next 48 hours of your life will determine the next 48 years. I'm not speaking metaphorically, I'm not being dramatic. A window just opened in the spiritual realm that has your exact name on it, your exact frequency, your exact coordinates in this timeline. And in 48 hours, that window slams shut. Not tomorrow, not next week. You have 2 days to make a decision that the universe has been preparing you for your entire life. The people who hurt you, the ones who tried to break you, the forces that worked against you in the shadows, they can feel this moment coming. They're panicking right now because they know what happens if you make the right choice. They know what door opens. They know what power you step into. And they're terrified. Right now, while you're hearing this, something is being finalized in the unseen realm. Contracts are being reviewed. Timelines are converging. Your name just appeared on a list that only appears once in a lifetime. The universe doesn't give everyone this moment. Most people go their whole lives without ever receiving this specific invitation. But you're not most people. You survived things that were designed to erase you. You kept breathing through situations that should have stopped your heart. You held onto your sanity when reality itself tried to shatter around you. And because you survived, because you stayed true to yourself when everyone else was trying to reshape you into something broken and compliant, you earned this moment, this choice, this 48-hour window. The clock started ticking the moment you felt that strange pull to watch this message. That wasn't random. That wasn't algorithm. That was fate tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Pay attention." Because what I'm about to tell you will either elevate you beyond anything you've imagined or leave you wondering for the rest of your life what could have been. And trust me when I say this, the people who skip this message, the ones who click away thinking they'll come back later, they're the ones who weren't meant to walk through this door. But you're still here. You felt something shift in your chest the second you started reading. That's confirmation. That's your spirit recognizing truth before your mind can catch up. Let's get clear on something right away. This isn't about choosing between 2 job offers or deciding whether to text someone back. This decision goes deeper than surface-level life choices. What's being presented to you right now is a spiritual crossroads, the kind that determines what version of your destiny unfolds. Think of it like this. Your life has been building toward a specific moment of transformation. Every betrayal you survived, every night you cried yourself to sleep, every time you had to pick yourself up when no one else would, those weren't random events. Those were training. Those were tests. Those were the universe preparing you for a level of responsibility and power that requires a completely different version of you to handle. The decision isn't what you think it is. It's not about choosing success over failure. It's not about choosing love over loneliness. The real decision is this. Are you ready to stop playing small? Are you ready to stop pretending you're ordinary when you know deep down you never were? Are you ready to step into the version of yourself that your enemies feared you'd become? Because that's what this moment is really about. The universe is asking you one question. Do you want to keep living the comfortable lie, or do you want to embrace the uncomfortable truth of who you really are? Here's what makes this moment different from every other crossroads you've faced. This time, the universe isn't testing your strength. It already knows you're strong. You proved that when you survived everything that tried to destroy you. This time, the universe is testing your readiness to receive. Because what's on the other side of this decision isn't just better circumstances or improved situations. What's waiting for you is a complete identity shift, a frequency upgrade, a dimensional leap in consciousness that will make your old life unrecognizable. And the universe needs to know if you're prepared to handle that kind of transformation without losing yourself in the process. The reason you have 48 hours specifically isn't arbitrary. The cosmic forces that govern transformation operate on specific timelines, specific windows where the veil between potential and manifestation becomes thin enough to cross through. Right now, for the next 2 days, that veil is thinner for you than it has been in years, maybe thinner than it's ever been in your entire life. But veils don't stay thin forever. Energy shifts. Opportunities pass. Windows close. And when this particular window closes, it doesn't reopen easily. Some people wait decades for another chance like this. Some people never see it again. Think about every major turning point in your life. The moments where everything changed, the decisions that redirected your entire path. Looking back, can you see how there was always a specific moment, a specific window of time where you had to choose? And can you see how the consequences of that choice rippled out for years afterward? This is one of those moments, except magnified, amplified, supercharged with spiritual significance that goes beyond just affecting you. This decision affects timelines. This decision affects the people connected to your destiny. This decision affects the very fabric of what your life becomes from this point forward. You might be wondering why now? Why, after everything you've been through, after all the delays and setbacks and closed doors, why is this moment arriving now? The answer is both simple and profound. You're finally ready. Not ready in the way you thought you needed to be. Not ready in the sense of having everything figured out or having all your problems solved. You're ready because you've been stripped down to your core truth. You're ready because the fake parts of you have been burned away. You're ready because you've stared into the darkest parts of yourself and the darkest parts of reality, and you didn't break. You didn't become what hurt you. You didn't let the darkness consume your light. The universe has a way of holding back blessings until the person requesting them becomes the person capable of maintaining them. You've been asking for breakthrough. You've been praying for elevation. You've been crying out for justice and vindication and restoration. And the whole time, the universe was saying, I hear you, but first you need to become someone who won't self-destruct the moment you receive what you're asking for. Because here's a truth most people don't understand. Blessings without preparation become curses. Power without wisdom becomes destruction. Elevation without foundation becomes a longer fall. The universe loves you too much to give you what you asked for before you became who you needed to be to handle it. Think about where you were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Think about the version of you that existed back then. Would that version of you have been able to handle what's being offered to you now? Would that version of you have had the discernment to recognize this moment for what it is? Would that version of you have had the strength to walk through this door without looking back at the comfortable misery you're being asked to leave behind? The answer is no. That version of you would have fumbled this blessing. That version of you would have made the wrong choice out of fear or desperation or the need for external validation. But you're not that person anymore. You've evolved. You've transformed. You've died and resurrected so many times that you barely recognize yourself anymore. And that's exactly why this moment is happening now. There's something else happening that you need to understand. The forces that tried to keep you small, the people who worked against you, the energies that attacked your peace and your progress, they just lost their power over you. Something shifted in the cosmic courts. Some spiritual statute of limitations just expired on their ability to interfere with your destiny. It's like they were operating under a temporary permission to test you, to challenge you, to see if you would break. And now that permission has been revoked because you passed the test. You didn't break. You didn't give up. You didn't become bitter and twisted and dark. You held onto your integrity when it would have been easier to compromise. You held onto your truth when it would have been more comfortable to accept their lies. And because of that, the universe just removed their access to your timeline. This decision is being presented to you now because your enemies can't stop it anymore. The door they spent years trying to keep closed just opened despite their best efforts. The path they blocked with lies and manipulation and spiritual warfare just cleared. The destiny they tried to derail just came back online stronger than ever. And they know it. They can feel it. That's why some of you have noticed certain people suddenly trying to contact you again. That's why old connections are resurfacing. That's why you're sensing strange energy around you. They're scrambling, they're panicking, they're trying to figure out how to maintain control now that the universe has removed their authority over your life. But here's the thing. They can't. Their time interfering with your path just ran out. And this 48-hour window exists specifically because they can no longer block it. You need to understand something crucial. You're not making this decision in a vacuum. Right now, in this exact moment, there are forces watching you that most people don't even believe exist. I'm not talking about being watched in some creepy surveillance way. I'm talking about spiritual attention, cosmic focus. Your name just lit up on frequencies that span dimensions, beings that operate outside of linear time, entities that govern transformation and evolution and spiritual promotion. They're all tuned into your energy right now. They're watching to see what you choose. They're observing how you respond to this moment. They're recording this decision because it matters beyond just you. Think of yourself as a character in a story that's being written across multiple realities. The author, the creative force behind existence, just gave you a moment of free will within the narrative. A moment where you get to decide which direction your character arc goes. Will you choose the hero's journey, or will you choose the tragic figure who had their chance and walked away? The cosmic audience is leaning forward in their seats right now, because this is the pivotal scene. This is where your story either takes off into triumph or settles back into comfortable mediocrity. And here's the wild part. They're not rooting against you. They're rooting for you. They want to see you make the brave choice. They want to see you step into your power. They want to witness your elevation, because your victory inspires victories in other dimensions, other timelines, other versions of reality. But it's not just high-frequency entities watching. The low-frequency forces are watching too. The energies that fed off your suffering, the beings that benefited from your oppression, the spiritual parasites that attached to you during your darkest moments. They're terrified right now. They can sense the shift. They can feel you pulling away from their influence. They know that if you make the right choice in the next 48 hours, they lose access to you permanently. No more feeding off your fear, no more draining your energy, no more using you as a battery for their dark operations. You making the right choice doesn't just elevate you. It cuts their supply line. It removes their food source. It disrupts their entire operation. That's why you might be experiencing weird resistance right now. Strange obstacles, unexpected interference. That's them trying to cloud your judgment, trying to keep you confused, trying to make you second-guess yourself long enough for this window to close. Your spiritual team, the guides and guardians and ancestors who have been protecting you this whole time, they're working overtime right now. They're clearing paths, they're removing obstacles, they're sending you signs and confirmations and gentle nudges toward the right choice. Have you noticed repeating numbers lately? Have you seen specific symbols or animals showing up? Have you experienced strange coincidences that feel almost orchestrated? That's them. That's your team trying to communicate with you in the language of synchronicity, because they can't just appear and spell it out for you. The rules of spiritual assistance require you to choose for yourself. They can guide, they can support, they can clear the way, but they can't make the decision for you. This choice has to come from your free will, or it doesn't count. It doesn't activate the destiny upgrade. It doesn't open the door. Even the universe itself, the cosmic intelligence that governs all of existence, is paying attention to you right now. Your frequency just reached a level where you're operating on a bandwidth that allows for direct communication with source energy. Most people never reach this frequency. Most people live their entire lives in lower bandwidth, where they're just going through the motions, following programming, reacting to circumstances. But you broke through that ceiling. You elevated your consciousness through sheer survival and determination and refusal to give up. And now the universe can speak to you directly, can offer you opportunities directly, can guide you with precision that wasn't possible when you were vibrating at lower frequencies. This 48-hour window is the universe extending a direct invitation. Will you accept? Will you trust? Will you take the leap? Let's address the elephant in the room. What happens if you make the wrong choice? What happens if fear wins? What happens if you let doubt talk you out of this moment? I need you to understand the consequences, because sugarcoating this would be doing you a disservice. If you choose wrong, if you let this window close without stepping through, you don't just miss an opportunity. You enter what spiritual teachers call a holding pattern. Life doesn't end. Things don't fall apart dramatically, but everything stalls. You remain stuck in the same cycles you've been trying to break. The same patterns keep repeating. The same type of people keep showing up. The same obstacles keep blocking your path. Except now they feel heavier, because somewhere deep in your spirit, you know you had a chance to break free, and you didn't take it. Choosing wrong doesn't mean choosing obvious evil. That's not how spiritual tests work. The wrong choice usually looks like the safe choice, the logical choice, the choice that makes sense to everyone around you, staying in the comfortable prison, maintaining the status quo, not rocking the boat, keeping the peace with people who don't deserve your peace, playing small to make others comfortable, shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold your full power. That's the wrong choice. And the devastating part is how reasonable it sounds. How many people will support you making the wrong choice because they're operating from fear and limitation themselves? They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll remind you of past failures. They'll question your readiness. They'll project their own limitations onto your situation. And if you listen to them, if you let their fear become your compass, you'll miss this door. Here's what happens to your enemies if you choose wrong. They breathe a sigh of relief. They celebrate privately. They continue their operations against you because you just confirmed for them that you're not the threat they feared you were becoming. Choosing wrong sends a signal into the spiritual realm that you're still controllable, still manipulable, still willing to subordinate your truth for the sake of temporary comfort or social acceptance. And the forces that benefited from your oppression immediately reinforce their grip. They tighten the chains. They double down on the attacks. They escalate the warfare because now they know you're not ready to fight back at full power. Choosing wrong essentially gives them permission to continue draining you because you demonstrated that you're not ready to cut them off. But there's an even darker consequence to choosing wrong that most people don't talk about. You become a cautionary tale in the spiritual realm, not as punishment, but as natural consequence. Future opportunities look at your energy signature and they see someone who fumbles at crucial moments. Someone who talks about change but chooses safety. Someone who prays for breakthrough but runs from open doors. And the universe, in its infinite intelligence, starts directing blessings toward people who are more likely to honor them. This doesn't mean you're abandoned. It doesn't mean you're cast aside. But it does mean your path becomes slower, harder, more grinding. The express elevator that was available during this 48-hour window disappears, and you're back to taking the stairs, still moving upward technically, but at a pace that will take decades instead of months. And every step of those stairs, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember the door that was open. You'll remember the choice you didn't make. The wrong choice also affects people beyond just you. There are souls connected to your destiny who are waiting for you to step into your power because your activation activates theirs. There are people you haven't even met yet whose lives will transform when they encounter the elevated version of you. There are missions that require your specific frequency operating at full capacity. Choosing wrong doesn't just keep you small. It delays the healing and elevation of everyone connected to your purpose. This isn't meant to pressure you, it's meant to help you see the true stakes of this moment. You're not just deciding your individual fate, you're deciding how much light gets released into a world that desperately needs it. You're deciding whether the people who survive on your wisdom and your example and your breakthrough get to witness what's possible, or whether they stay trapped in the same doubts and limitations that keep everyone playing small. Now let's talk about what happens when you make the right choice. When you feel the fear and do it anyway. When you trust your intuition over everyone's opinions. When you step through this door despite not knowing exactly what's on the other side. Choosing right initiates a cascade of events that will make the next few months of your life almost unrecognizable compared to the last few years. I'm talking about rapid-fire manifestation. I'm talking about doors opening in sequence like dominoes falling. I'm talking about people, resources, opportunities, and circumstances aligning in ways that feel orchestrated by an intelligence far beyond human planning. Because that's exactly what happens. When you choose alignment with your highest path, the universe mobilizes every available resource to support that choice. First, you'll notice immediate shifts in your energy. It's like someone turned up your internal voltage. Colors look brighter, music sounds richer, you feel more alive in your body than you have in years. This isn't imagination, this is your frequency actually rising to match the new timeline you just chose. You'll start attracting different types of people. The energy vampires and drama magnets who used to populate your life suddenly can't find you anymore. It's like you became invisible to their frequency. Meanwhile, high-caliber individuals start appearing seemingly out of nowhere. People who match your new energy. People who recognize your power. People who want to collaborate and co-create rather than compete and drain. The tribe you've been searching for starts assembling around you without you having to force or chase anything. Your enemies will experience something that looks like spontaneous collapse. Not because you did anything to them, not because you wished harm on them, but because the spiritual support they were receiving to operate against you gets withdrawn. Suddenly their schemes stop working, their lies stop being believed, their manipulations start backfiring, the people they control start waking up and walking away, their carefully constructed false realities begin crumbling. And here's what's fascinating. They'll know it's connected to you. They'll sense that your shift caused their collapse. They'll try to fight it, try to regain control, try to pull you back into old dynamics, but they can't. Because you're operating on a frequency they can no longer reach. You've moved beyond their jurisdiction. Their weapons don't work at your new altitude. Financially, things that were blocked start flowing. That money you were owed suddenly shows up. That opportunity you interviewed for months ago suddenly calls back. That business idea you shelved suddenly gains momentum. This isn't luck, this is alignment. When you choose your highest path, the universe rearranges resources to match your new trajectory. Money follows energy. Opportunity follows frequency. Abundance flows toward people who are flowing with their purpose. You've been working hard for years with minimal results because you were working against the current, trying to force things in misalignment. But the moment you choose right, you step into the current and suddenly the same effort produces exponentially greater results. Not because you're working harder, because you're working with universal flow instead of against it. Relationship-wise, massive healing and restoration begins. People who wronged you start reaching out to apologize without you saying anything. Situations that felt permanently broken start mending. Family dynamics that were toxic start transforming. And here's the beautiful part. You're no longer desperate for these reconciliations. You're no longer seeking validation from people who hurt you. You're healed enough that you can receive their apologies with grace while maintaining boundaries. You can forgive without returning to dysfunction. You can love people from a distance without letting them close enough to hurt you again. This is the power of choosing right. You don't just get your life back. You get an upgraded version of your life, where you're operating from wholeness. Purpose and mission clarity hits you like lightning. Things you've been confused about for years suddenly make perfect sense. Your past experiences, even the traumatic ones, suddenly reveal their purpose in your story. You see how everything was preparing you for what comes next. You understand why certain doors closed. You recognize why certain people had to leave. The confusion lifts and is replaced by crystal clear vision of what you're here to do and who you're here to become. This clarity is magnetic. It draws resources, people, and opportunities like a beacon in the darkness. People sense that you know something. They feel your certainty. They want to be part of whatever you're building because you're radiating purpose-driven energy that's intoxicating to anyone still searching for their own. By now, you might be thinking, okay, I understand the stakes, I see why this matters, but what exactly am I choosing? How do I know which option is the right one? Let me make this clear. You already know. Deep down, beneath all the noise and doubt and fear and what-ifs, you know. There's a voice inside you that's been whispering the answer this entire time. The choice isn't hidden or mysterious or complex. The choice is whether you finally listen to that voice or keep ignoring it to please people who aren't living your life. The choice is whether you honor your truth or keep betraying it for comfort. The choice is whether you step into your power or keep pretending you're powerless. You know what you need to do. The question is whether you'll finally do it. Is how to cut through the confusion, pay attention to what scares you and excites you simultaneously. That thing that makes your stomach drop and your heart race at the same time, that's usually pointing toward your right choice. Fear and excitement create the same physiological response because they're both alerting you to something significant. Most people feel that combination and interpret it as a warning to stop, but chosen ones understand that's actually confirmation to proceed. The things worth doing, the choices worth making, they never feel purely comfortable. They feel alive, they feel electric, they feel like you're finally doing something real after years of going through motions. That feeling is your compass. That's your internal guidance system saying, yes, this direction, this choice, this door. Another indicator is noticing what the people who don't have your best interests at heart are resisting. Your enemies have a gift for revealing your right path by fighting against it. Watch what makes them uncomfortable. Watch what they try to talk you out of. Watch what they minimize, dismiss, or mock. That's usually exactly where your power lives. That's usually exactly the choice that will elevate you beyond their reach. If everyone in your life is comfortable with your decision, you're probably playing it safe. If everyone supports your choice without question, you might be choosing what's easy rather than what's right. The right choice often makes people nervous because they sense it will change the dynamic. They sense they're about to lose control over you. They sense you're about to outgrow the box they've been keeping you in. Listen to your body. Your physical form is an incredibly accurate barometer for spiritual truth. When you think about one option, how does your body respond? Does your chest tighten? Does your breathing become shallow? Does tension creep into your shoulders? That's a no from your system. That's your body saying this choice leads to contraction, limitation, continued suffering. But when you think about the other option, even if it scares you, does your breath deepen? Does your chest open? Does your spine straighten? Does something in your core relax even as your mind races? That's a yes. That's your body recognizing truth before your brain can rationalize it. Your body never lies. Your mind can be manipulated, your emotions can be triggered, but your body's response to truth is consistent and trustworthy. The right choice usually involves facing something you've been avoiding, confronting someone you've been afraid to confront, speaking a truth you've been scared to speak, walking away from a situation you've been trying to fix, starting something you've been putting off, ending something you've been clinging to. Whatever you've been circling around, making excuses about, negotiating with yourself over, that's probably what you need to do. The resistance you feel isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're approaching the exact thing your transformation requires. Comfort rarely leads to growth. Security rarely leads to power. Playing it safe rarely leads to destiny. The right choice is usually the one that makes you feel most vulnerable, because vulnerability is the gateway to authenticity, and authenticity is the foundation of real power. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the cosmic context of this situation. Why you? Why were you chosen to receive this particular test? Why are you the one being offered this 48-hour window when billions of people on this planet will never receive such a clear spiritual invitation? The answer is both humbling and empowering. You were chosen because you're built different. Not in an arrogant way, not in a superior way, but in an undeniable factual way. Your soul came into this lifetime with a specific mission that required a specific type of resilience, awareness, and capacity that most people simply don't possess. You were chosen because you can handle what most people would break under. Think about it. Everything you've survived, most people would have quit. Most people would have given up. Most people would have become bitter, broken, twisted versions of themselves. But you didn't. Against all odds, against all statistical probability, you maintained your core essence. You held on to your light when you were surrounded by darkness. You chose truth when lies would have been easier. You stayed soft when hardening would have protected you more. You remained kind when cruelty would have given you power. This isn't weakness. This is the rarest form of strength that exists. This is the kind of soul quality that the universe selects for major assignments. You're not here to live an ordinary life. You never were. And the universe needs you to stop pretending you are. Your purpose isn't just about you. It's about the people watching your story unfold. There are individuals right now, at this very moment, who are going through their own darkness. They're questioning whether they should keep going. They're wondering if holding on to their integrity is worth the cost. They're considering giving up. And your life, your choices, your breakthrough, it matters to them more than you realize. When you step through this door, when you make the right choice despite the fear, you send a signal across the collective consciousness that says transformation is possible. Breakthrough is real. Staying true to yourself pays off. Your victory gives hope to people you'll never meet. Your elevation proves to others that the path exists. This is why your decision matters beyond your individual timeline. You're carrying hope for an entire network of souls who need to see proof that the struggle is worth it. The forces that tried to break you weren't random. You were specifically targeted because your power threatened their operations. If you had just been an ordinary person stumbling through life, they would have left you alone. But you posed a threat to the systems of control, manipulation, and oppression that keep people small and compliant. Your very existence, your natural state of being, disrupts their frequency. You emit a signal that wakes people up. You carry a truth that exposes their lies. You embody a possibility that makes their limitations obvious. This is why they came after you so hard. This is why the attacks felt so personal and targeted, because they were. You were never being paranoid. You were accurately perceiving a real spiritual warfare scenario where your elimination would have served their agenda, but they failed. You're still here. You're still standing. You're still radiating that dangerous truth that threatens their entire operation. This 48-hour window represents the universe's way of promoting you out of the battlefield and into leadership. You've completed your basic training. You've proven your loyalty to truth. You've demonstrated your capacity to maintain integrity under extreme pressure, and now you're being offered a position of greater authority and influence. But with that promotion comes responsibility. You can't operate at a higher level with the same consciousness that got you through the lower levels. You can't carry wounded energy into healed spaces. You can't bring victim mentality into victory territory. This decision is your initiation into a new level of spiritual maturity, where you operate as a conscious creator rather than an unconscious responder. The universe is asking, are you ready to stop reacting to life and start creating it? We need to talk about what's going to happen in these next 48 hours, because it won't be smooth sailing. The moment you decided to read this message, you activated something. Forces that want you to choose wrong are going to escalate their interference. You might experience technical difficulties, unexpected crises, sudden conflicts, random obstacles. People from your past might reach out at strange times. You might get hit with fatigue or brain fog or unexplainable heaviness. Understand that this isn't random. This is strategic. These are last-ditch efforts to keep you from reaching the decision point with clarity. Don't let the chaos distract you. Don't let the interference make you think you're on the wrong path. The intensity of the resistance is actually confirmation that you're approaching something significant. They don't fight this hard over things that don't matter. You might also experience people suddenly questioning your choices or bringing up past failures. Someone close to you might suddenly express doubt about your direction. Friends might start acting strange or distant. Family might choose this exact moment to criticize or undermine you. This isn't coincidence. Low-frequency energies work through people who are already predisposed to doubt you. They amplify existing fears and insecurities in your circle to create an echo chamber of negativity around you. The goal is to make you second-guess yourself, to make you feel alone in your conviction, to make you wonder if you're being crazy or unrealistic. Stand firm. This is a test of whether you'll choose based on your internal knowing or based on external validation. The right choice almost never has unanimous support from your current circle, because your current circle is vibrating at your current frequency, not your future frequency. Watch for the temptation to delay. You might find yourself thinking, I'll make this decision after I have more information, more money, more support, more time. Delay is the favorite weapon of forces that want to keep you stuck, because delay feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels like you're being careful and thoughtful. But in reality, delay is just fear wearing a business suit. You don't need more information. You need more courage. You don't need more time. You need more trust. You don't need more support. You need more faith in yourself. The window is 48 hours because that's the exact amount of time your logical mind needs to talk you out of what your spirit already knows. If you give yourself more time, you'll rationalize yourself into the wrong choice. This needs to be a heart decision made faster than your head can override it. Something beautiful might also happen in these 48 hours. You might receive confirmations so clear they take your breath away. Synchronicities so perfect they make you laugh at the precision of the universe. Signs so obvious they remove all doubt about which direction to go. Your spiritual team is working overtime to guide you. They're dropping breadcrumbs. They're orchestrating encounters. They're speaking through songs, conversations, random moments of knowing. Pay attention. Stay alert. Notice the patterns. That person who randomly texts you with exactly the message you needed to hear, that's not random. That song that comes on with lyrics that speak directly to your situation, that's not coincidence. That thought that drops into your mind with crystal clarity at 3 a.m., that's not your imagination. That's communication. That's guidance. That's the universe saying, I'm with you, I see you, I'm showing you the way, trust me. Let me get specific, because I know some of you are still wondering what action you actually need to take. The decision isn't abstract, it's concrete. For some of you, the decision is leaving a relationship that's been slowly killing your spirit. You know which one I'm talking about, the one you keep making excuses for, the one where you've convinced yourself things will get better if you just love them harder, communicate clearer, wait a little longer. But deep down, you know nothing's changing, except you're becoming a shell of who you used to be. The 48 hours is your window to make the exit plan, to say the words, to pack the bags, to choose yourself over the comfortable misery. This is your moment to stop betraying yourself for someone who never chose you the way you chose them. For others, the decision is starting something you've been terrified to start. That business, that creative project, that move to a new city, that return to school. That career pivot everyone says is unrealistic. You've been sitting on your potential for years, letting fear convince you the timing isn't right, you're not ready, you don't have enough resources. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. You'll never have all the answers. You'll never have perfect circumstances. The 48 hours is your window to take the first concrete step, to register the business, to post the first piece of content, to submit the application, to have the conversation, to do the one thing that sets everything else in motion. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Start scared. Start messy. Just stop. For some, the decision is ending a friendship that's been one-sided for too long. That person who only calls when they need something. That friend who competes with you instead of celebrating you. That connection where you always feel drained afterward. You've been holding on out of history, out of loyalty, out of fear of confrontation. But that relationship is occupying space that's meant for real connections. It's draining energy that's meant for people who actually reciprocate. The 48 hours is your window to have the honest conversation, to create the boundary, to let go of what's no longer serving you. Not with anger, not with drama, just with the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth and refuses to settle for less than genuine connection. For others, the decision is forgiving yourself for something you've been carrying for too long. That mistake you made years ago that you keep punishing yourself for. That choice you regret that you replay on an endless loop. That version of you that you're still ashamed of. The 48 hours is your window to release it. To write the letter to your younger self, offering compassion instead of criticism. To speak out loud the words, I forgive myself. I release this. I choose to move forward. You can't step into your power while carrying shame from your past. You can't operate at a high frequency while hating yourself for who you used to be. The decision is to let yourself off the hook and understand that you were doing the best you could with the consciousness you had at that time. For some, the decision is speaking a truth you've been suppressing, telling someone how you really feel, setting a boundary you've been afraid to set, asking for what you actually want instead of settling for crumbs, calling out behavior that's been hurting you, admitting your dreams instead of hiding them. The 48 hours is your window to use your voice, to say the thing that needs to be said, to stop performing the version of yourself that keeps everyone else comfortable. Your silence hasn't been protecting you, it's been slowly suffocating you. The decision is to speak your truth even if your voice shakes, even if people don't like it, even if it makes things uncomfortable. Your voice is your power. Use it. So here we are. You've read this entire message. You've felt the truth of it resonate in your core. You've recognized yourself in these words. And now comes the moment of actual choice. Not theoretical choice, not someday choice. Now, within the next 48 hours, you need to make a move, take an action, do something concrete that demonstrates to the universe that you're choosing right. It doesn't have to be the final action. It doesn't have to be the complete transformation, but it has to be a real step in the direction of your truth. One brave move that says, I'm done playing small. I'm done hiding my power. I'm done betraying myself for the comfort of others. The universe responds to movement, not to intention, not to desire, not to hope or wishes or someday maybes. It responds to action. When you take a real step toward your truth, resources mobilize, doors open, help arrives, synchronicities multiply. But you have to move first. You have to demonstrate faith through behavior. You have to show the universe you're serious by doing something that costs you something, something that requires courage, something that makes you vulnerable, something that can't be undone if you get scared later. That's when the magic happens. That's when transformation becomes real. I'm not going to stand here and pump you up with empty motivation. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy or comfortable, or that everyone will support you. Some of the consequences of choosing right will be painful. Some people won't understand. Some relationships will end. Some aspects of your old life will crumble. But here's what I will tell you. Every single discomfort you experience from choosing right is temporary and leads to elevation. Every single comfort you preserve by choosing wrong is temporary and leads to stagnation. You get to decide which temporary situation you're willing to endure, the temporary pain of growth or the temporary comfort of staying stuck. Because neither one lasts forever, but the direction they take you couldn't be more different. Your enemies are watching this moment. Your spiritual team is watching this moment. The universe itself is watching this moment. But most importantly, your future self is watching this moment. The version of you that exists on the other side of the right choice is looking back at this crossroads with bated breath, hoping, praying, willing you to choose them over the safety of the known. That future version of you has everything you've been asking for. They have the peace, the power, the purpose, the connections, the abundance. They're living the life you dream about. And they're sending you strength right now across time, saying, do it. Make the choice. Step through the door. I'm waiting for you on the other side. You have 48 hours, not metaphorically, not symbolically. You have 2 actual days to make a real choice that will echo through the rest of your life. The clock started when you began this message. It's ticking right now. And when it runs out, this particular window closes. Will it open again? Eventually, maybe. But not with this level of cosmic support, not with this much spiritual backing, not with your enemies this weakened and your team this mobilized. This is your moment. This is your door. This is your 48 hours. Don't waste it waiting for permission. Don't waste it seeking validation. Don't waste it overthinking and analyzing and talking yourself out of what your spirit already knows. Make the choice. Take the action. Step through the door. Your destiny is waiting. Your power is calling. Your future is beckoning. And the version of you that's been buried under expectations, trauma, fear, and playing small is ready to rise. Let them. Choose them. Become them. The clock is ticking, chosen one. What are you going to do?